Hello viewers, it is your favorite spoiler from the recap room. For more updates, stay tuned and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you. Melvin Pritcher visits his mother's grave at the start of the episode before setting out on a quest to identify her killer and secure justice. Rudy Baylor and Deck, who are determined to learn more about him, overhear his heated conversation with his pretrial officer during which he claims he is innocent of her murder. They want to speak with him directly about what he knows about the hospital, but Bruiser argues that as a matter of professional etiquette, she must first speak with his lawyer. Instead, she sends them off to track down Jackie Lemancyzk, the other hospital nurse who was sacked, but they disobey her orders. As Melvin drives his truck straight in through the window to meet his burglars, they instead break into his motel room, which is already being observed by two private eyes. Rudy and Deck discover Jackie's address and Pritcher's belongings before they are practically driven over, and fortunately for them, the investigators don't pursue them as they escape. Unfortunately for the PIs, one of them is quickly trapped by Melvin, and before his partner can find him, he is abducted, tortured, and killed in the woods. Rudy persuades Bruiser that they should exhume Donnie Ray's body to demonstrate that he was not taking heroin at the time of his death after Bruiser gives him a well-earned tongue lash back at their abandoned taco business headquarters. In the meantime, when Melvin is in the middle of a passionate moment, Bruiser goes to convince his lawyer to allow him to talk with him. He died from a drug overdose, according to the results of their in-house autopsy, and Bruiser sends Rudy to inform his mother that they have no case and must make a settlement. On the other hand, dismisses Rudy with a vow that she will never settle the lawsuit since she still doesn't think Donnie Ray was using again. In addition, she no longer trusts him to represent her. Rudy acknowledges that, like Bruiser, he's not a good ambulance chaser when he comes back to tell her the news. Rudy and Deck find and gather P that is still in the toilet in the restroom where Donnie passed out, demonstrating that he was not under the influence of narcotics. It is useful during the hearing when Leo Drummond makes an unexpected move for summary judgment, even though it is inadmissible in court for a number of reasons. Rudy bravely takes the initiative and reveals the urine as evidence that there is a dispute of fact as Bruiser tries to demonstrate that there is a real question of fact regarding Donnie's drug use. The motion fails even though he will continue to encounter several objections regarding the admissibility of the material. Leo then threatens Bruiser before making an offer. Despite his belief that the case is weak, he is able to persuade his client to settle for $150,000. In fact, following that hearing setback, his client Keeley is keen to reach a settlement and even willingly raises that amount to $250,000. Leo looks to Sarah for more delicate information about Rudy when he inquires as to whether he will obstruct a settlement. And she mentions his deceased sibling in order to comply. Sarah compliments Rudy's court performance when they later meet at the bar, but she doesn't bring up her betrayal by telling her boss about his darkest moment. The first episode also introduces us to Rudy's neighbor, Kelly Riker, who is being mistreated by her husband and hoarding money, perhaps in anticipation of a future escape. The husband can be seen looking in through the glass as Rudy watches her examine her bruises in the bathroom mirror. Leaves the settlement session when the business declines to provide an apology for Donnie's passing. When pursuing her, Rudy eventually shares his own experience with tragedy and the death of his brother when she accuses him of not comprehending her suffering. To get her back to the table, he persuades her that Donnie would want her to be taken care of. Rudy, however, decides to cancel the settlement before can sign it. In the end, Bruiser, who had been advocating for the settlement, concurs. She cautions, "See you in court, Leo." Sarah is prepared to get her hands dirty after Leo chastises Brad for his extremely inconsiderate and useless remarks during the meeting. Thanks for watching, stay tuned for more updates.